y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have an art journaling video for you, but it's a little bit different. Instead of working in my art journal, I am showing you how I'm going to use some art journaling techniques outside of my art journal in other projects. So today I'm working with these adorable little ice cream and popsicle treats. These are part of the Fussy Cuttin Cuties Cutiversary. I talked about that in a project video where I shared some summer projects I'm excited about, and I'll definitely link the Fussy Cuttin Cuties down below. It's kind of a monthly thing where there's just fun activities to do and a wonderful group of ladies. So I'm excited to work with these, but I am going to try some art journaling techniques with them. I have some gloss sprays pulled out, some different pencils, and we're going to see what happens. I can tell you, I don't think that they are going to stay on these particular pages, so we'll see what goes on. I will link everything that I end up using down below so you can check those out. Otherwise, let's go. The first thing I'm going to do is just some simple coloring with colored pencils. Never underestimate how fun it can be to just do some simple coloring, and that's what I'm doing with my Prismacolor colored pencils here. I am coloring these frozen treats, and I'm going to do them in kind of a monochromatic look. So each particular treat is going to stick with one color, and I specifically picked colors that went well with some of the Dina Wakley sprays that I had picked out. And I'm just playing with some shading, playing with the sprinkles, just having a good time. You don't always need to overthink an art journal entry. You can just have fun coloring, adding things in. Even if you just color these, that is fun too. You could just color them and cut them out and collage them all together. That would be a fun start to an art journal entry. There's lots of things you can do, and sometimes I think we overcomplicate our creativity or our crafting time, and so I'm keeping it nice and simple. This was something I did kind of first thing in the morning, and talk about a great way to start the day. Coloring was an awesome way to start the day. Like, I will do that over and over and over again. So I loved that I kind of kept it in this monochromatic look and didn't mix it up too much. And that is what will make these busy elements still work well on my art journaling page. If I had changed up all the colors, if everyone was a different color, if they all had different colors mixed in, it would be a little bit more busy and hard to look at. Next, I have some Arteza watercolor paper. I'm cutting it down to the Happy Planner classic size. So this is 7 by 9.25, and then I'm going to use my We Are Memory Keepers disc punch to add holes in it so it will be able to slip into my project, which is my cutie keeper. And this is just a fun kind of what they call a low-level craft project with the treats where you just color them, but I kind of wanted to take it up a notch, and I wanted to remember and remind myself that all of these art journaling techniques that I love using in my art journal, I can incorporate into all kinds of projects, and it doesn't have to strictly be in my art journal. So that is what I'm kind of focused on. All right, I've pulled out some metallic watercolors. These are from Prima. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of water to the colors I plan to use so they can start soaking that in, because metallic watercolors tend to take a little bit more time to activate. And then I'm just laying down some water on this paper, and my plan is to just let the water and the color move. That is one of my favorite ways to use watercolor. This is the beginning of the background of this page, and you can see I'm kind of working from that dark purple all the way to the yellow, adding a little bit more color here and there, and then I'll continue that kind of same feel on the other side, creating somewhat of a rainbow spread. Very light wash, but really nice with the metallic background. Once I get all the color on that one side, I do go ahead and pull out my heat tool, and I use it to dry as the color is dripping down. So you get some downward motion. If I'd left it flat, it would have dried with less drips, and I was going for the drips. That was something I wanted to see in the background. So just using my dryer right here, and then I will do the same thing on the other side, but this time on the other side, I will start with that yellow and work my way into the blue. And again, I'm focusing on my whole inspiration were these colors that I picked out for the Dina Wakley acrylic spray, which I'm really loving, and I'm loving some of the extended techniques that you can do with the acrylic spray. You don't have to just spray it and go with it. You can use that acrylic paint that's in there for some different purposes, and so I think that that is a lot of fun. All right, I'm adding just a little bit more color here and there to get these to blend. It's really tricky to not muddy it up, but also to get it to blend and get some nice drips. So adding a little more color at the top, pick it up, and you see immediately the drips downwards, which creates a nice motion on the page, like I said before, and then just working to let this dry all the way. And once I get that done, you can see it's curling as it's wet, but then it flattens out more when it dries. That's one of the signals that the piece is dry. I'll get that all set, and then I'm going to pull out some fun Dina Wakley spray. Whenever I am using a spray, I always use a box to spray in because that stuff can go everywhere. So this is actually a Happy Planner box. This is a Be Happy box, and it's a nice big size, and so it's going to work out really well. And what I'm going to do first is actually some painting. So I am pouring a little bit of each of the colors I've chosen into my paint palette here. This paint palette is actually a deviled egg holder that I picked up from a grocery store for a few dollars, and it works fabulous to hold paint. So I'm just pouring a little bit because what I want to do to start out with is to paint with these acrylic sprays because I'm wanting to do a layered effect. So I started out with the watercolor at the bottom. We're going to go a little bolder as some drips. I kind of was imagining ice cream melting down. So I'll start with that bold pink, and now I'm coming with the light pink. It dries so fast that you end up with some interesting layers if you are painting with this particular medium. And you see I'm getting some drips and some fun. I wanted this particular layer, I'm calling this the middle layer, to be a little bit more flat because I will use sprays in the end. And you can see I'm just going for some like swooshes as if it were just melting down the page. I did not wash my brush off all the way, so I'm trying to like wash off this pink that is in the way, and then continuing it over to the second page. And I'm trying to work with it while it's still wet so that it blends a little bit. This acrylic dries super fast, which is one of the pros of using it as a spray. Distress oxide sprays take a really long time to dry, I feel like, and these particular sprays will go pretty fast. So letting those dry, I'm cleaning up just a little bit, and then I'll grab my paintbrush and we will go into this kind of lighter blue, adding this one right in here. Again, just a random kind of drip. I didn't want them all to be at the same shape or the same height. Adding that in. I am getting some bubbles. I'm not totally sure why I'm getting the bubbles, but they just fall right out as I'm letting those drips run to the top. And now adding some of the darker blue on the page. And I love painting with these. I think it's fun. I think it's a cool challenge because they do dry so fast. You get some interesting looks and some interesting layers. So I'm just dabbing it up from the back, and then I'll bring my heat tool to make sure that those are nice and dry before I add in any more layers. Anytime I'm working with a liquid medium like these sprays, I try to not fight the liquidness of that medium. So I go with the drips, and that's what I wanted to do here. So I sprayed a bunch of the acrylic spray right at the top and then let it drip down and went with that layered look. And I did that for each of the colors, and it turned out so cool, you guys. So it ends up being like this splatter strong drip starting right at the top, and then it fades over this more smooth finish of the acrylics that I did as the medium layer into the metallic look that's at the bottom. And it was just fun to play with the different layers to work on the background like this. I did make sure to dry pretty well in between. I didn't leave all that drying time in there, but it is drying in between. And it was so fun to play with, and I like the different textures that came across from it. It was a very cool technique and one that I want to try again. I haven't mixed watercolor in with these acrylic sprays very much. And I think it is a really good combination, especially those metallic, because the acrylic sprays have a shine to them when they dry. The metallic goes really nicely. Now, sometimes with the Dina Wakley sprays, they get a little clogged if you don't clean them, which I tend to forget to clean them after I use them. You just can wipe them off. You can also spray them upside down, I believe, to clear the nozzle. I don't always do that, so sometimes I have to take it apart and clean it, but I haven't had trouble. I've always been able to make it work. But yeah, I should probably be cleaning as I go, but do as I say, not as I do. This one had some weird, look at that weird kind of drip pattern it made. I thought that was super interesting. I find it intriguing. When liquid is moving around the page, it's so fun because you can't control it. You just have to go with it. And I'm adding in the last color here with that dark blue, letting it drip. And I just left my dryer on knowing I was gonna finish it off right there. And what a fun background for my little frozen ice cream treats. I think these are going to be super, super cute. All right, the next step is going to be to place these fun ice cream treats. And the reason I did them in like a monochromatic look was because I knew I wanted to have them around the page with this kind of different feel when they were in their color scheme, if that makes sense. Kind of a rainbow feel. Rainbow treats are always fun, and I'll even have this one kind of going across the page with a double stick to put those pages together in a way. I decided to put them through my Xyron sticker maker. If you have not seen one of these, what you can do is any paper piece that you have that's not a sticker, you can put it into this little machine, you pull it out, you flatten it out, and it creates all of these stickers. It's super fun. I really like using it, and this coats it really nicely with adhesive so that it will stick really well. So I'm just turning these into humongous stickers. How fun is it to just play with colored images? I think it turns out super cute. I really, really like these kind of just melting out of the sky is kind of what I was thinking when I was imagining this page. So that is all my ice creams. And then the last step will be to do a little bit of trimming. I had one little piece fall off here. So I'll trim it, cut the page apart, and then pull out a set of stamps from By the Well for God, an alpha set of stamps called the Ruth Alpha, which is a beautiful kind of a stencil look for the stamps. And I will add some stamping at the bottom that says treat yourself, which is just such a fun summer feel. And so I'm excited to add that in. I'm having a little bit of trouble. I didn't overlap these correctly, so a little bit of trouble cutting those apart, but eventually I get them cut apart. I use my disc hole punch to re-punch those holes that got covered up by the ice cream, and then I will add the stencil, and I put that in super fast forward mode, not the stencil but the stamp, because all I'm doing is stamping out my title at the bottom with VersaFine Onyx black ink, and those are acrylic stamps, so I have a stamp block as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as the bell notification button. Don't forget that you can use all of your art journaling skills in all of your projects. Make sure you're transitioning them over to some different things. If you haven't checked out the Fussy Cuttin Cuties, then I will link them below. You're going to want to check out that group. It is a super fun group for sure. And I've linked supplies down below if you want to check those out. A huge shout out to my Scrappy YouTube members. You guys are so amazing. Your monthly support really helps me keep this channel afloat, so I appreciate it completely. If you're interested in becoming a Scrappy YouTube member and finding out about some of the perks that they receive with their monthly membership, then make sure to click the join button, and there's also a link in the description box. All right, I hope you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.